Great crop, lousy prices. That was our summary of the plight of our avocado growers last time we looked at the sector. This month, the Tapuki-based kiwi fruit and avocado operations of major player Serata rammed the message home. The company reported a stinging year-to-December loss of $214 million. Serata's major problems are rooted in the kiwi fruit virus plague, but its avocado operations obviously did nothing to buffer it from the impact of a record crop in Australia. Our Rural Affairs correspondent, Chapell, has been in Tapuki to see if avocado growers have a recovery strategy.
You might be forgiven for thinking that all is well in the world of avocados. Steady summer and spring rain and warm temperatures like the ones here today are part of the reason why here in the Bay of Plenty it's been a record-breaking season. However, the 5.8 million trays produced so far isn't all good news for growers.
We have a lot of disgruntled growers at the moment. The returns are poor. We have come off the back of a couple of very good seasons when we've achieved up to $20 a tray of fruit, and to be staring $10 or less dollars per tray in the eyes this season will be frightening for all of us.
However, consumers are celebrating that times have never been better. Prices dropping to near record lows, with unprecedented volumes of the fruit flooding our marketplace. With low prices, though, come low returns. This season, some of the worst in the industry's history. And for most growers, like Northland orchardist Roger Barber, it's our nearest neighbours causing the bulk of the problems.
Growers are pretty disappointed, really, in the returns that they've achieved this season. It's largely marketing problems that we've had. We received some very poor information from Australia in terms of the size of their crop. We understood they had a light crop. It turned out that their crop was heavier than what they had forecast.
Cooperation with the Aussies is crucially important because so much of our fruit heads across the Tasman. The supermarket chains set the price according to supply and demand. And with a record New Zealand crop of nearly 6 million trays of fruit, it's even more important they time things to perfection. Getting it wrong could cost them big.
We got the signal through the Australian supermarkets to start supplying fruit, which probably in hindsight was about 2 to 3 weeks earlier than we should. So we had a wave of fruit going in when the Australians still had a lot of fruit still in the marketplace, and this meant the fruit really didn't move through the system.
This led to huge drops in price on shelves around Australasia. The high volume of avocados pouring out of New Zealand had nowhere to go.
We were getting periodic rain events of significance every 3 weeks, and then fine weather in between, and that's kind of ideal growing conditions, as long as it doesn't flood anything.
The industry's council chairman, John Schnackenberg, says his phone has been ringing hot since the start of the harvest season, with worried growers demanding answers.
The significant difference in returns is the degree to which they have access to retail programs. Our retail programs in Australia are paying more than access to the wholesale market alone. So our growers will see two different types of return depending on whether their exporters have access to a retail program, and more particularly have actually moved a lot more fruit to markets other than Australia.
Unlike John's kiwi fruit growing neighbours in the Bay of Plenty, the avocado industry relies on multiple exporters to market and sell their product both at home and abroad. This has meant more choice for growers, but sadly, not all exporters are created equal.
Unfortunately, we have growers whose exporters have primarily put fruit into the Australian wholesale market, and their returns will be at the lower end. Those who have exporters with the retail program in Australia and have moved product into other markets, Japan, Southeast Asia and the USA, will find that their exporter will have done a better job for them. Every tree is an individual, and I guess it's a bit like a dairy farmer knowing every one of his cows is different. Each one needs individual treatment.
Growers like Roger Barber, who have full confidence in the export representative, say the problem actually lies in the limitations of having only one central market for the fruit.
The biggest challenge is to get an accurate crop estimation, and each year we make sure that we do a full assessment of what's on the trees. This year the crop assessment was bang on. We certainly can't argue, and it's unfortunately the Australian crop estimate wasn't anywhere near as good.
However, while growers grizzled about the prices, the sheer volume of product going through the New Zealand system was welcome news to plenty of others in associated industries, as pickers, packers and shippers experienced one of their busiest ever seasons.
Even though our growers are going to have a poor year, I think the industry values will still be our highest, given the high volume of export trays. For example, last year we only exported about 1.9 million trays, and this year it's double that quantity, but it's double the quantity of fruit to pick. It's double the quantity of fruit to pack.
Speak to most growers and they'll all agree. We need to break into new markets, further afield to spread the fruit and the price risk around. But the problem, of course, is all in the timing. A delicious Hass avocado like this one has a shelf life of around about a month, and yet the average boat trip to Europe is a 35-day journey. The math doesn't quite add up unless the speed of transit or shelf life of the fruit changes. John Schnackenberg reckons a new technique called dynamic controlled atmosphere may just hold the answer.
We've done live trials this season and still are with what's called dynamic controlled atmosphere, where the atmosphere in a container is controlled, and in this particular instance oxygen is minimised and varied throughout the transit to restrain the fruit from ripening. There is real hope that this breakthrough will enable us to shift fruit a lot further.
The golden key to long-term market safety, consistently higher prices and retention of orchard values still eludes the avocado industry. Whether the answer lies in unification, new markets or better technology, no one is quite sure. But if we want to continue to see our fruit on market shelves and our growers thriving, someone will need to find out.
The reality is the dynamics of exporting of New Zealand avocados have changed permanently, and we have to work to develop markets. We have to accept lower returns in some of those markets as they're developed, and that may even be the case going to Europe. Getting to Europe is great, but it doesn't mean to say it's going to return more money than an undersupplied Australian market will.
Drew Chapell reporting there. Up next, meet former share milk